Jordan, as we saw the other night at the end of the documentary, when they handed him the iPad so that he could watch Gary Payton talk about how he shut him down, the glove, and Jordan just threw his head back and just laughed. I'm laughing at you. I apologize while I'm doing it, but I am laughing at everything you're saying, because the truth is, there's one guy on this list who happens to be at the top of this list who is still active. He's still adding to his legacy. His name is Michael Jordan. And through a documentary that he finally signed off on, after all these years, it took 22 years for him to sign off on the footage going public, he did it. And I told you before the doc started airing, the reason he's doing it is because he's getting sick and tired of hearing people like you try to make this phony GOAT case for LeBron James. It is making him sick. And he finally said, enough. And once again, as he always did as a player, he dropped the thunder and the lightning all over LeBron's GOAT argument. He is still active, even from the quote-unquote grave. He's long gone. He's long retired, and he's still adding to his legacy with The Last Dance. It ain't over until it's over, Shannon. It won't be over until this next Sunday night when we watch the final two episodes, 9 and 10. And while you're right, LeBron is the one truly, officially active player, and he does have a chance, an opportunity to add a wing to his mansion in Brentwood. It's not up the hill in Bel Air like you. I mean, God knows. LeBron doesn't have enough clout and wherewithal to live in Shannon Sharp's neighborhood, which is way up the hill, up Beverly Glen from here. A palatial estate. He's coming to you from the wine cellar of his palatial estate up in Bel Air. He's not exactly the Fresh Prince. He's a little older than the Fresh, but he's still the Prince of Bel Air, is Shannon Sharp. So Shannon still has a chance to add a wing, but he also has a chance to subtract a wing, because right now we're in a pandemic. Stock market is not in a good place right now, and that could also happen to LeBron's active legacy. He could also blow it. He could, who knows, dare I say, have some sort of playoff tournament clash with the Los Angeles Clippers, led by my guy, Kawhi Leonard. What if he stinks it up? What if he melts down, shrinks, disappears against Kawhi and company in some sort of July or August tournament finals of the Western Conference? Well, yeah, that could happen. So you could also subtract from your legacy. And now to your point about ESPN, obviously, yes, they're airing this documentary, but I think they would look foolish if they put LeBron number one. I think they look foolish putting him number two, but obviously he is the face of the National Basketball Association that ESPN does televise. They're one of the TV partners, obviously, along with ABC and obviously TNT. They're obviously with ABC. And so they had to make sure that they're politically correct by putting LeBron number two. But here start my problems. And I'm not second guessing this. I first guessed it last week, Shannon Sharp. We put out, I can't remember if you did it, but I divulged my all-time top 10 list. Was it last week or maybe even the week before? A couple of weeks ago. And well, it was last week, I believe. So on my top 10 all-time list, I had obviously Michael first. I had Magic second and Shaq third on my list. So I'm not being a hypocrite here. This isn't 2020 hindsight. I had Shaq third. I also had Kobe seventh, and I had LeBron ninth. Shaq third, Kobe seventh, LeBron ninth. So how in good conscience can ESPN's list put Kobe ninth and Shaq 10th and LeBron second? Shannon, I'm sorry, that's just wrong. That's just so wrongly wrong, because Shaquille O'Neal was better than LeBron James. I'm going to say it again. I was there. I covered these games. I watched it from the front row, from press row. I saw Shaq in all his dominant glory. And to this day, I've told you, I've said it many times right here on Undisputed, Shaquille O'Neal, for that three-peat stretch, 2000, 2001, 2002, was the most unstoppable offensive force, I'm talking about force, that we've ever seen in the history of basketball. I told you it was not pretty. It was almost impossible to referee because nearly every play was block, charge, block, charge. I don't know. He played football against people who were trying to play basketball, and nobody could stop him. And that first year in 2000, Shannon, Shaquille O'Neal averaged 30 a game and led the league in scoring. And he averaged 14 rebounds, and he averaged 4 assists for a big man. That's special. And he averaged 3 blocks. And he made first team all defense. Well, I don't know what more you could ask for. They destroyed everybody they played through the playoffs. My Spurs, Tim Duncan, David Robinson, they got like ragdolled, like they were just dolls full of stuffing. They just got tossed out of the way by Shaquille O'Neal. And I got you, 50% free throw shooter. But you send him to the line enough, he's still going to make 15 free throws. And he's going to foul everybody out. You only get 6, so pretty soon you're going to be down to your 12th man. Nobody can deal with him. And remember, he's having to share shots with one of the all-time no-conscience shooters we've ever seen in the history of the league in Kobe Bryant. Love Kobe, but it's hard to get shots when Kobe's taking so many. And yet Shaq was the MVP that year. And 3 times Shaq was finals MVP. And 3 times he was the All-Star Game MVP. And again, if you want to penalize him for falling out of shape in his later years, if you want to penalize him for not always playing as hard as he should have been playing, you got me on that. But if I take that 3-game stretch, he was more dominant than Kareem was. If you could have matched Kareem versus Shaq in that stretch, I don't think Kareem could have dealt with him, and I love Kareem. And I have Kareem 4th on my list, just 1 slot below Shaq. But I'm sorry, Shaq was more valuable and more dominating than LeBron has been. And to me, I still take Kobe over LeBron. Kobe is just better clutch shooter, just a better shooter, period.
Fair offer, very fair. And if you don't want to take it, we'll just step back. And if they would just say, look, we're going to go with Andy Dalton, we're going to save $15 million and we'll put that money somewhere on our defense and help our team, you know, you're playing with fire because, I mean, being a Cowboy, and I hate to say this, if you know I do, being a Cowboy has a great, great value. It really does. You know, and being in Dallas and being the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Easy, you of all people should know, after having held out twice, living in L.A., you wanted a raise because you felt you wanted what you deserved. They thought they were giving you fair market value. You said, I want more money. You were living in L.A., and you end up going to Indy, and you going to talk about this man got fair offer paying in Dallas.
Well, let's go with this. I was making $250,000. When I went to India, I made $1.5 million.
That was a lot of money back then.
$250,000 money in LA. You paying $100,000. Look, I mean, like I said, I'm always for the player. You know that. I'm always for the player. And I don't tell the player, you know, what to do with his money, how to spend his money. But you got to, you know what's true, Shannon. Think about it. Being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys or being the quarterback of the New York Jets or the Cincinnati Bengals, it's a big difference. It really is. And we know that. And like I say, I like that. I'm not telling the man what to do, but if I was advising him, I said, look at this offer very close and think about this. Because Jerry could say, you know what? That's it. You know, that's our offer. Take it or leave it. And that's how he does it. And his son, Stephen Jones, could say, you know, Dad, that's a great offer. That's enough. And we're just going to leave it at that. We'll just let him go be Kirk Cousins, the Minnesota, to be another Kirk Cousins, Minnesota Vikings. And I like that.
So Shannon Sharp, you realize that time that you're talking about, Eric Dickerson had established himself as the best running back in all of pro football. He was dominating the league, and he was a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer by the time that he was at his contractual stalemate with his team. So that's a whole different situation than a still young quarterback who is 1 and 2 in the playoffs. Nobody considers Dak Prescott even a top 10 quarterback yet. Maybe he'll come to prove that at some point. But again, as Eric says, the offer on the table of $36